This is Eric Rogers, and this is my Clock Rings app. This app is broken down into 4 different categories, basically clocks, alarms, time card, and settings. I'm going to start out by showing you how to use the clocks. This is the icon clock in the dark mode. If you go over to settings, clock, you can change it from icon to digital, or you could change it to rings. You can also see it in light mode. It's up to you whether you have it in light mode or dark mode. Now I'm going to go back over different settings. This is digital. So this is digital in light mode, and this is digital in dark mode. This is rings in dark mode, and this is rings in light mode. Now I'm going to start showing you how you can clock in. Normally what you would do is be standing at the time clock and just say begin tour now. But if you would like, if you forgot to clock in, you could always press begin tour at custom time. And then what you could do is you could go back in time and set it up as to when you started your day. And if you notice, you have the day. Then down here you have how many hours you're going to work and how long is your lunch. And then you just press start. And again, this is light mode and this is dark mode. It's basically the same app, it's just it looks a little bit different. I'm just trying to show you the different ways it looks. One thing you might be thinking about is like at the very top of the clock, you have that blue blinking. What is that? Well, that is basically when the decimal clock changes over. Look at that, it says 2009, now it says 2010. Right when that second hand hit that, it automatically bounced down to about the 35, 36 area. And then it's going to do the same thing. And it's basically letting you know it's kind of like a second hand for the decimal clock. We began tour for the day, and we have 77% of our day gone. And we're going to get off the clock today at 10:30 or 22:50, and that is in 2 hours and 23 minutes. And down below it says on pace for 2 hours of overtime for the week by 10:30. You're going to get those indicators throughout the day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the schedule, and the schedule tells you when different things are supposed to happen. Like I am almost a half an hour, 40 minutes over when I was supposed to go out to lunch based on the time that I came in. And so this also lets you know that a half an hour later you clock back in from lunch, and then you end your day at 10:30. What we're going to do is we're going to go through a simulation of how to clock out for lunch. So I'm going to go ahead and press clock out for lunch. And now you notice it down there, it gives you the opportunity to undo your mistakes if you accidentally did that. And then here, this is just going to count down for the 30 minutes that you are on lunch. Alarms is quite in depth. I have a lot of alarms. You're going to start out with none. That's up to you. I don't want to force alarms onto you, but I like alarms. As you can tell, the very first one is, clock in. It's basically telling me, get out of my car and walk to the time clock. It's just enough time for me to clock in. And then 2 hours later, I take a break. 15 minutes later, my break is over. 2 hours later, I take another break, and so on and so forth. And then there's my lunch, there's my wash up, so on and so forth. So it's just my way of tracking what goes on. And if you want, you can edit these. You can edit them in mass. You can delete them in mass, whatever you decide. You can organize them. And you can also create a new one. And this is how you create a new alarm. You got all sorts of different options. You could repeat them on certain days. You can set different tones, all sorts of different options. You can set different icons. And there's another option that's kind of neat is you can share. So if you would like to send someone a text message with a picture or the text of your alarms, you can do that. And all you have to do is click on one of those options. Generate from schedule is neat too. If you look down here, Let's go back here. It's going to generate from here. It's going to create 4 alarms that are based on these 4 clock rings so that you can automatically see them. And then if you want, you can turn all of them on or turn all of them off. You see how they all turn off? And you can also turn them all on. It's actually kind of handy. I also have some rules set up so that I'm going to bounce over here real quick into the alerts, and I have some rules set up where you can turn alarms off for this particular device. I have them sync across devices. You can turn that off also, but it just gives you an option. And then this is kind of nice. If you schedule vacation, or if you schedule holiday or something along those lines, sick leave, this right here will automatically disable all alarms. So we're going to switch over to time card. And so you can see that this is what's happened today. Noon I began tour, and then at 8:12 I started my lunch. And so far for today I have 8 hours and 7 minutes. Okay? And then here's my time punch history. And this is basically my history over the last, couple weeks, however long I've been using the app. And if I want, what I could do is I could press the delete button, and the delete gives me a couple different options. I can delete my entire history or anything that's older than 2 weeks. If you press edit, you can do a couple different things. You can actually click here and you could actually delete this section. It's kind of nice. And if you click over here, you could duplicate this day. So like, say as an example, you forgot to put in time clocks or clock rings for a particular day, you can add them that way. And then you could also add a clock ring here manually, and you get to choose what is it that you want. Not everybody takes a lunch, and not everybody does tracks their breaks, but those are options also. Daily, weekly, pay period, monthly, and yearly reports that you can look at. And basically for this week, because it's a Saturday when I'm doing this, you can see that I have worked 8 hours. And then for the pay period, it's a little bit more because last week counted toward this pay period. Estimated pay that I have, and overtime, and stuff like that. And here is some deductions that I have. And then down here you have some information based on the different last few pay periods. And then what this right here tells you what each color represents. And if you come over here, this goes even farther into the different sections. If you want, you can share that again. It's kind of handy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go down a little bit farther. You can export these reports also, and you can export them as a PDF or a CSV, and then you get to choose what is the time frame that you're trying to do, or if you want, you can just type in to and from, which is kind of handy. Go back real quick and take a look. Lunch has wound down to 19 minutes. Okay, that's how much time we have left. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the settings app. Lots involved. If you get confused, one of the most important things is the very top. You can search for everything. So let's start with alerts. Alerts has lots to offer. You're going to have all these that you can turn on and turn off. I recommend that you turn them on, leave them on. Here's how your alarms are sorted. It's your choice. And here's your quiet days. I have a lot of information under every area, so you might want to read over that. This right here, this section right here where it says alarms on this device, that's important because if you have an iPad at home, you might not want your iPad to be ringing all of your alarms while you're at work because your iPad is at home. And down here is your notifications. And then down here, this is kind of what's neat. This is your overtime alerts, and you could turn that off. if you would like. But basically, if you're getting close to 8 hours, it's going to let you know, hey, you're getting close to 8 hours. You might want to pay attention to your clock rings, 10 hours, 40 hours, and so on and so forth. And it does give you an option for 30-minute before, or you can change that if you want. You can also get a notification if you forgot to clock out. So those are some things that are inside the alerts. And then the next one is the clocks and appearance. 2 of the clocks give you the option to see one of the clocks only. That's the digital and the rings app. The icon app does not give you that option. And basically, what do you care more about? Do you care more about the digital, the standard, or both? I prefer to see both. And then you have the option for 24-hour clock, show AM, PM, show seconds, show the flash indicator, the size of the font if you would like to make it a little bit bigger. And then coming down here, you can change the colors. I have picked some colors for you, but if you would like, you can pick from anything that's available. And again, like I said, I chose some for you. So what I'd like you to do is pay attention down at the bottom where it says clocks, alarms, time card, and settings. You see how settings is blue? Now look at it, it's red. Look up at the top, the share sheet and or the show flash indicator is red, and now it's purple, and now it's green, and now it's yellow. So those are just some examples of how you can change that. Now the next 2 are the appearance. You know, like right now I have the app in dark mode. What you do is you can put it in light mode constantly. You can put it in dark mode constantly. Or you can let the phone control whether it's in light mode or dark mode, and that's called system. Same with the icon. The icon has a light mode and a dark mode or a system icon. So you can choose that. So here's some deductions, and what this is basically just lets you set up your deductions so that your paycheck is a little bit on track. If you press this plus button right here, you can add a deduction, and so you can choose all these different deductions and say, hey, I want to add child support and I want to have it be a certain dollar amount or whatever the case is and how often. You could set all of this up like that. And if you would like, you can go in and you can change your previous ones that you've already set up. Leave entries. So what you have here is basically allows you to edit them, and then allows you to have a list format or a calendar format. And then you can add leave if you would like. So you could have a single day, or you could have a range, and then you could choose the type of leave that it is. And then you get to choose the hours. I recommend that you put a note down here. That way you can explain it, because you might forget. It might be first round, it might be second round, it might be an incidental, whatever the case is. And then here you can choose all the different icons that are appropriate for it. And then you would just press add. And then here you would choose your date range. Okay, so another thing that you can do is you can share this if you would like. You can add your leave to your calendar. That's basically going to send a file to your phone in a ICS format. That's a little geeky, don't worry about it. I have a better way of doing it right under here. And that is where it says sync Apple to Apple Calendar. And basically what this does is it basically sets up a calendar for you and it allows you to sync it. All you have to do is go through that, and if you don't like it, you can remove it. And your whatever you set up in this little window here will show up on your calendar on your phone. Now, let's go back just a little bit. Here is your annual leave and your sick leave. And this basically just tells you what you have. And don't be so startled. Like, as an example, my number is pretty low for annual because all of this counts. All of this counts against me. So everything that I have scheduled for the rest of the year is being subtracted, and then I get to this point where that's all I have left. Okay, so just be cognitive of that. And if you look here, I took Christmas this year, and so what I'm doing is it is showing you the 5 days that I took for Christmas, and then I have a lot of 1 days here. So it's just, and then you have this, we're in list section right now, but you can also go to calendar section. And calendar shows both or just leave or just holidays. But I like to do leave and holidays. I like both. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bounce over here and I'm going to click on the 3rd. And I could show you that I took, my holiday is on the 3rd, but I also took an incidental day. And that's just my choice. I just wanted to make sure I was covered. I didn't want to lose the opportunity to take that day. And I can skip around and look at all the different. Like here, I took another day, Labor Day, and then I took the Friday before that also to get a little bit longer. Another thing that you can do is your holidays. And what this is I have holidays going all the way out from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And then I have different years, and I'll keep adding them as we go. And then watch faces. I have created several different watch faces, and this basically just allows you to click on this link right here where it says add Apple watch face. It automatically goes over to your watch. Then the next thing we can do is weather. Now, if you notice back here, there is no weather. But if I turn the weather on, now there's weather. So it gives you the opportunity to have the weather also. Here's your work schedule. So you could just turn it off, like say you're on vacation if you want. And then here's your weekly plan. And if you want, what you could do is you could set your first day, set it all up the way you like it, and then you could say copy to all days, and it will automatically copy to all of your days. And then if you want, look, if you look at Friday, I have it custom because I told it to be off, whereas normally I would be working. And here's all of your defaults for everything. So here's some advanced settings. So this gives you the opportunity to increase or decrease the offset, and it allows you to sync it. So you can just press the plus or minus button till you get to where you want it to be perfect, and you can go from there. This section right here allows you to undo. This section allows you to do the searches, Face ID or Touch ID, whichever is available, and you can also have a haptic feedback. This bottom section is kind of handy. What you can do is just basically it just backs up automatically, or you could create a backup at any time. One of the things that's nice about a backup is, let's say you are the local guru at your post office. What you could do is you could set your phone up the way you like it and then help others. You could actually share your alarms with other people. You could share your settings. Obviously, I wouldn't share everything, but you could share certain things. What I would do is just come right here, and this is what I would do. I would just turn off everything except alarms and settings, and then export this. And then what will happen is someone else will receive all of your alarms and all of your settings. And you're basically helping your peers set this app up. So here's the help. You can go through all sorts of different help categories. Give you an idea. Here's what's new. You could read what's new. And sometimes I have daily updates. Sometimes it's weekly. This is where you can give me a tip if you would like. Here's some breakdowns of some of the tips. And here you can tell your friends. And here, this section is very important too. You can actually click on that and send me an email, and I will try to respond. Most importantly, if you see something wrong with the app, I would like to know so we can make it better for the rest of the post office. Reset to defaults. If you press that button, it's going to give you a warning. The app is reset to factory settings the way that I thought it should have been when you first downloaded it. All right, now that is it. You have gone through Clock Rings. I hope you like it, and you have a good evening.